As far as Bitcoin is concerned, 2017 is going to be a banner year. I believe the ETF approval was a major accomplishment at the beginning of the year. In my opinion, the ETF's triumph marks yet another watershed moment. The April halving, in my opinion, will constitute a third positive landmark. All the marketing on Wall Street is going to be for the best, and I see the asset being more accepted in the general investment world, so I expect it to continue gaining traction thanks to those three factors. Additionally, I believe it is important to mention one point. I believe that the current period is known as the Bitcoin Gold Rush, and that it began in January 2024 and will likely end in November 2034. So I'll tell you why it's roughly 10 years. Better in terms of technology than those types of assets? Bitcoin, he stressed, is an exit strategy, and selling MicroStrategy's Bitcoin is not in the cards. He went on to say that there is no logic in selling a winner in order to get a loser. Also, I'll explain why. Because nearly all of the mining of Bitcoin began at this time. On the other hand, 99% of the total Bitcoin supply will have been distributed by November 2034. Halving is so highly symbolic. Some estimate that the next 100 years, or until 2140, will see Bitcoin issuance. Actually, though, you've only gotten 1% during the past century. In fact, 90 basis points of that 1% will arrive in the 12 years following 2034. Following that, there will be a difference of 10 basis points, or 0.01%. However, in practice, beginning in the year 2034, all block rewards are de minimis. Given the daily volatility and trading volume, a 1% increase over 100 years is likely to have an impact on the market on a third, fourth, or fifth order magnitude. With everything out of the way, the next decade presents the greatest opportunity to acquire Bitcoin. Think of it like the gold rush. Reason being, a great deal of FUD persists at this time, a great deal of mystery remains. Nobody knows for sure now. Their comprehension of digital energy is lacking. Digital capital is foreign to them. Digital property is foreign to them. The community is very divided. Bitcoin, is it a money? Is it a money? Is it a piece of land, though? Huge controversy surrounds it. You hear a lot of people complaining about this currency because it's not good for anything, like buying coffee with it. It doesn't move fast enough, or it isn't legal tender. Accordingly, the crypto community is rather bewildered. Many mainstream regulators are present. They consider it money. Here we have bankers complaining about a currency that they claim isn't very useful because it can't even buy coffee. Due to its extreme volatility, I am unable to use it to make online purchases, and they perceive that as an attack. Thus, they find fault with it. Then, seemingly knowledgeable individuals hear a well-known figure say something negative about Bitcoin, like how the government will prohibit it or how it can't compare to the dollar. People are scared to buy it because they trust the individual selling it. As a result, many have unfairly criticized it. Many people get it wrong, and it leads to all sorts of confusion, false information, and silly, misleading articles in the news. Bad things happen on Twitter as a result. When this happens, it throws Wall Street analysts for a loop. So it's reasonable to assume that a gradual increase in demand is the result of all that apprehension, misinformation, and confusion. If everyone had put in 100 hours, the demand would have been exponentially higher, wouldn't it? I see. Those who find fault with it obviously haven't spent as much time researching Bitcoin as Warren Buffett. It's highly unlikely that all of the critics devoted 100 hours to researching it. The Bitcoin standard has not been read by them. Surely they haven't listened to 20, 30, or 40 hours of podcasts. Thus, the naysayers lack knowledge while the mainstream investors amass an infinite supply of capital, correct? The total wealth in the world is $900 trillion. Bitcoin has a total value of $1 trillion. There must be some way out of the asset class for 99.9% of the wealth. There will be a dramatic increase in education over the next decade, even though many individuals who don't get it have a lot of money. If the price of Bitcoin continues to rise, more and more individuals will be asked to buy it, and some of those people will be reluctant at first, disliking broaching the subject. They don't get it, or it doesn't produce cash flows, which is why we don't like it. It's like gold. I mean, how can you possibly comprehend perfect money? Are you saying that gold is bad? A gold nugget can be admitted. Inflationary pressures are multiplied by gold. Because of that, it is ineffective. If you fail to grasp that concept, you will fail to grasp the superiority of digital gold over Physical gold. You clearly have no idea what Bitcoin is. Money is a foreign concept to you. You also haven't given property theory or capital theory much of your time and attention. Therefore, you will undoubtedly purchase digital energy whenever someone asks you because you clearly do not comprehend digital capital. The obvious response is that I will not purchase it. I fail to comprehend. But when I tell people that if everyone just got it, if they read all these books, if they listen to all these podcasts, yours and mine included, and gave it some serious thought for a few hundred hours, then tomorrow everyone would wake up and buy Bitcoin, and the price of a coin would be $5 million. Then, while we're recording this podcast, you may ask, Mike, is it too late in response to every single one of your followers' comments? Plus, I'd tell them it's too late for them to become filthy rich. I thought you were saying you wouldn't get 100x? Imagine telling your kids that you made 100 times your investment in Bitcoin if you bought it at $50,000 and it's now worth $500,000 or $5 million. Because of that, it will be futile to try. The thermodynamically sound digital asset is still the preferable option, though, since it avoids the pitfalls of real estate stocks and bonds while still being an excellent investment. Its value will continue to outpace that of the SP index, even after accounting for taxes. It will outperform owning government debt. It will still be preferable than owning physical property that is vulnerable to natural disasters, war, and other physical constraints. The investment is thus still the same. You can forget about boasting about the 100x return you were hoping for. This investment just will not do that. Therefore, you shouldn't be concerned, correct? Or worry. People should not be able to deduce this, should they? Assuming they do, you'll have 10 years to put in the work and save enough for Bitcoin while the rest of society rejects you and doesn't get it due to generational differences or intellectual laziness, of course. So it's the same as if I were to claim that it's 1905, and that in 15 years, everyone will own a car. Sure, you can amass a fortune in the car industry in the next 15 years. Find out if you're planning to open the dealership in the Big Apple or not. Is launching a business in your future? Will you be working in sales? Do you have a plan? A full 15 years are at your disposal. Get a handle on it. In comparison, this is superior. However, this is a 15.0-15.5- year jumpstart. Plus, I was thinking about this comparison. What if you were to work at McDonald's and get $10 an hour? Instead of $10 an hour, you're getting $1 000 hour if you're investing in an asset that increases in value by a factor of 100. Then at $1,000 per hour, how many hours a day do you put in? You want to make $1,000 per hour for as long as possible so you can go back to your $10 per hour job when people figure it out, right? Here we are in the midst of the gold rush. When people give it some thought, they'll see that this is when the global consensus began to build that Bitcoin is digital capital and that the whole concept of money is shifting online. Also, you'd like to jump on top of that. It seems like you're looking to capitalize on them. It can be done in 1,000 different ways. Perhaps all you have to do is put in a lot of time at your job and invest in Bitcoin. Consider starting a business. Perhaps try a new approach. Can you make a decision? Regardless, I have never felt remorse for stacking. We purchased Bitcoin when its price was below $10,000. Probably above $60,000 we purchased Bitcoin. Honestly, we have no idea when the world will finally get its act together, become logical, and then it will hit an all-time high, making us wish we had purchased more. If somebody is wondering if it's too late, I would urge them to keep going. Perhaps you haven't given this enough thought. That's what I would say. You fail to comprehend. Keep your money away from